Welcome everyone this morning on this Tuesday morning. Tuesday, August 3rd today. Welcome everyone. Another very beautiful and mild morning. I love the fact that it's cools down at night. We can open up our windows at the house. It's so nice to have that fresh air. Mike and Kim, good to see you this morning. Welcome. Kathy Smallwood, good to see you this morning. Lori Agassi, welcome. Yeah, it's summer gets so hot, but sometimes in the summer, it doesn't cool down at night, and thankfully that doesn't happen a lot. But one of our favorite things is to open up all of our doors and not our doors, but our windows at night to cool our house down. It's so nice. Barbara Richardson, welcome. There's my mom, welcome. Janisa, I saw your name, as well as Lori Cares, good morning. Stephen Andrea Hauser, Jan Akins, Jim and Kathy Fuente. Wow, all the names are pouring in. I'm always humbled by the regularity of so many of you to tune in. It's always an encouragement to me. So this morning we're continuing our study in the 23rd Psalm. Good morning, Karen Faust. Good to see you. And the phrase that we are tackling today is the phrase that David, when he pens this phrase, he leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And it was fun tackling this phrase this morning and meditating on what the implications of it are. And so let's talk about this in very practical terms as it relates to a shepherd, and then we'll apply it to our lives. Paths of righteousness. This word righteousness in the Old Testament is meant to be not only a spiritual term, but it's also a very practical term. It refers to actually a broad sense of what could just be what I would describe as, in the case of a shepherd and a sheep, the right paths, good paths. So the shepherd is leading his sheep in good paths, the right ones. And what determines what is right is the path that leads to that sheep's health and well-being. And so what does this mean to an Old Testament shepherd? Sheep, if you tend a flock of sheep, you have to move them around all the time. Sheep need to be led to green pastures. They need to be led to quiet waters, right? The shepherd is the one that moves that herd around to different pastures. If they're left to their own devices, they will just stay in one place. They will graze in one field until that field is completely destroyed, and they won't move on. And then once they destroy that field, the field also becomes contaminated if the sheep are overstaying that location. The sheep are not only eating, but they're producing waste, right? So they start contaminating the field at some point. Initially, it's good. I mean, we're going to talk about this in a minute, but if left to their own devices, they'll overgraze, they'll destroy the land, and they'll ultimately become sickly as sheep. So it's important that the shepherd leads them on particular paths to different areas to keep them moving, to keep them always having green fields or green areas to graze, and then not overgraze that area so that the shepherd can return to that area after he's rotated the sheep elsewhere for a period of time. He can return back because the field is still in really good health and so on. It's just very wise of the shepherd to do this for the sake of the sheep. So that is at the heart of the right paths, I think, is that it's the responsibility of the shepherd to lead his sheep in paths that result in their good, their health, their well-being. And David is saying, the Lord is my shepherd. He leads me on the right paths. He leads me into places in my life. He's guiding me for my well-being. It's for my good. And so I need to yield myself to him. I trust him, David says, for his name's sake. This is the second piece of the puzzle. At first glance, when I read this phrase, I feel like it was almost a little self-serving. He leads his sheep on good paths, right paths, for his name's sake, for his own reputation. And certainly there is a truth in that. And so let's take it back to the ancient Near East. So if a shepherd has to lead his sheep to new pastures regularly, he has to have a reputation as a good shepherd. Why do I say this? Is because all the land in Israel is owned by somebody. And if I'm a shepherd, I need to move my sheep around. I own my sheep, but I, for the most part, don't own the land that my sheep are grazing on. If I just am confined to my own piece of property, I'm going to wear out that piece of property. I need to be able to move my sheep around. And so you have to have a reputation as a good shepherd so that you can have gain access, land rights, to other people's land and have a good reputation so that if I'm going to move my sheep onto your land, I want you to benefit because initially the sheep which produce waste, they'll graze in your fields because for the most part, Israel you're either going to be a shepherd or a farmer. And these are mutually beneficial things, right? So if I'm a farmer, I'm going to invite a shepherd onto my land because they're going to fertilize my land. But I don't want them to stick around very long because they'll destroy my land. And so you have to have a really good relationship. And so a shepherd with a good reputation is one who will have land access to his neighbors and will be able to have access to leading his sheep to the green pastures. And he's just known for being a good shepherd. So if I'm another landowner, I'm saying, yeah, come onto my land. I benefit. You're going to move on. You're going to do all the good things for me, but you're not going to destroy my land. You're going to move on and graze your sheep somewhere else. So yeah, there is a sense in which the shepherd must have a good reputation or else no one's going to trust him. God has a good reputation with his sheep. He has demonstrated from the beginning of time that he knows the right paths. He's leading us on the right paths for our good, for our well-being. He loves us dearly. He's demonstrated his love for us by sending his son. Jesus said of himself, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. So it's important that God has a good reputation. Otherwise, who's going to trust him, right? But where does the reputation come from? This is where I want kind of the more the heart of the matter, what I think David is really getting at when he says, you lead me on the right paths for your name's sake. Where does a good reputation come from? It comes from good character. If I have a reputation for doing wise and skillful and good things, it's coming from a heart that is good. Jesus said, it's not what goes into a man that makes him unclean, it's what comes out of a man, right? Because what comes out of a man comes from whatever is inside them, what's in their heart. And so if a person with a good reputation is pretty apparent that they have good character. Why does God have a good reputation? Because he has a pure and righteous character. He is known for caring for his sheep and leading them. He can be trusted. He's not going to lead us on paths that are going to end in our destruction, right? If he's a good shepherd, he has a good reputation. It's because of his own character. And so that is kind of the image of David just being so enamored of the Lord and in love with God, who is his good shepherd, because he leads him on all the right paths, because he is a person to be trusted, because God has a good character. His name, his character is trustworthy, is good. He doesn't vary. There is no darkness in God at all. And even when we go through times of struggle and we're like, what's going on? Why? And in some time we're going to get to the phrase, though he leads me in the valley of the shadow of death, right? So there's times in our life where we're going to struggle, and it's especially during those times that we trust in the very character of God, that he's leading us on paths that are actually for our good and that are going to grow us, is going to help us to thrive as his people. And one last thought I want to leave us with today is the fact that sheep are very what reputation do sheep have, right? We are known to wander. We are known to go on our own paths, which aren't necessarily good. And that's just the nature of sheep. And I find for me, that's my own heart's nature as well. I hate that about myself, that though I know I serve the good shepherd and he leads me on the right paths, why is my heart so inclined to wander? I want to do my own thing. I kind of want to, I know what God wants me to do, but it's like, I don't want to yield my heart to him. There's some resistance inside me according to my sin nature. And I have to make a decision to yield my heart to him every single day, to confess my wanderings, confess my pronation toward doing my own thing. Brittany, I see that you have quoted one of my favorite hymns, actually, and I wrote this in my journal, this hymn in my journal this morning. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. It's a great line from a hymn that I thought of as well today. It's our pronation. So we confess, at least I did this morning, Lord, I confess, that is my inclination. I'm sorry for wanting to wander from you all the time. Lord, thank you for being my good shepherd. And today I choose to love you. Today I choose to yield my heart to you. Today I choose to deny myself and take up my cross that I might follow you. You lead me on right paths, and I want to trust you. You are the good shepherd. It's your name that is at stake, and your name can be trusted. I can trust you, even though I don't really quite understand all the ways that you're leading me. So I'm going to trust you today and yield my heart to you. Continue to lead me into a way that I know you're going to cause good for me and cause me to have the things I need in order to live a skillful life here. So these are good things. So appreciate your time today. I ask God to bless you today, and take these words with you today. May they be a blessing to you, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning.